Hey, I'm Jusko from ProudMoney.com. Within the last week or so, a couple reports have come out about average credit scores, both across the board and by generation. So we are going to take a look at what those averages are as of now, and then we'll also talk a little bit further about what a good credit score is when it actually comes to lenders who are looking at your credit score, whether that's credit cards, mortgage loans, or auto loans. First off, FICO, or Fair Isaac Company, the creator of the credit scoring models to begin with, they came out with a report saying that the average credit score right now, 718, which is the highest it has ever been in their reports. And then Experian, one of the major credit reporting bureaus, coming out saying that the average based on their data is 716. Not a whole lot of difference. Now, I normally think of 700 as sort of the place where if you're above 700, you have a decent credit score and you should feel okay about yourself. Not necessarily great, but you're going to probably get approved for most things when you're over 700. So if the average credit score is 716 or 718, most people are doing okay. Now, Experian also broke things down further by age group, by the sort of generations that someone has agreed upon. So based on the numbers that they used, if you are in Gen Z, which is ages 18 to 26, 680 your average credit score. Millennials, who are 27 to 42 in age, 690. Gen X, that's your 43 to 58-year-olds, 709. Baby boomers at 59 to 77 years of age, all the way up to 745 as an average credit score, and then your silent generation, your 78 plus in age, 761 as an average credit score. So as you can see, those numbers go up as you get older, and a dramatic shift sort of takes place all the way up into like your 50s is when we see the biggest jump, which is interesting to me. Now, this makes sense to some extent because when you are older, you have a longer credit track record, you've got more of a credit mix, you've had maybe multiple mortgages, multiple car loans, multiple credit cards. So you've got a lot of history behind you, so it makes sense that your credit score would probably be higher. And then on the younger end, it makes sense that your credit score would be lower. You have less of a track record. You've probably got less of a credit mix because a lot of people have maybe only had credit cards, maybe an auto loan, but maybe not even that, maybe not a mortgage yet, especially if you are in the Gen Z generations. And then oftentimes when people are newer to credit, people just don't know how to use credit all that well yet. And so sometimes you've got late payments that happen more often when you are younger, when you're still sort of figuring out credit or paying enough attention to your credit. Once you get it to realize that those late payments are really going to hurt you for quite a while. So oftentimes the average credit score can be kind of pushed down when you are younger because of the fact that people end up making late payments, not realizing that's going to be sitting on their credit report for another 7 years. So when you look at those numbers, if you are above the average, you can feel kind of good about yourself, but maybe not too good, especially if you are younger, because those averages are kind of low. It's not until you look at those averages of the much older age groups where you would say on average they have very good credits. So what is a good credit score? Well, if you ask FICO, they have a chart that I think, spoiler alert, is a little too generous when it comes to talking about what a good credit score is, because I think a lot of lenders would not look at FICO's chart and agree across the board. But if we look at what FICO says about different credit scores, they say if you have a credit score of 800 or more, that is exceptional. If you have a credit score between 740 and 799, that's very good. 670 to 739 is good. 580 to 669, fair. And then lower than 580 is when you have poor credit. Now, I just said that in my opinion, FICO's chart is too generous, and that is because lenders do not use that FICO chart to make any decisions about loans they give or credit cards that they give out. That is something created really for consumers. Maybe it's sort of a rule of thumb that they would suggest to some lenders, but the lenders like FICO's credit scoring model. they don't really care about FICO's advice as to what is a good credit score or not. They're going to look at the history that they have with customers and who tends to perform well and not well based on credit scores that they have seen. So it's nice to look at that chart, but it can give you sort of an inflated idea of the strength of your credit score, especially at the lower numbers. Having said that, a couple years ago I did a video where I proposed some new credit score ranges that I thought were more accurate than what FICO puts out there when it comes to how lenders actually look at you. So the numbers and the categories that I use in terms of how I label them: 800 and above is excellent credit, 750 to 799 is very good / almost excellent, 700 to 749 pretty good still, which isn't a great name, but thought that made sense in terms of what it actually is. 650 to 699, borderline. 600 to 649, fair, trending bad, and then under 600, bad credit. And then if I wanted to boil that down even quicker, I would say 750 and above, you've got pretty much no worries. Whether it's very good or excellent, doesn't really matter that much. You're going to be in pretty good shape. 700 to 749 is acceptable. 700 is sort of the threshold that I would say you definitely want to be over, even if at 700 your credit limits might be a little lower or your interest rates might be a little higher than people that are 750 plus. You're still in pretty decent shape. You don't really want to have a credit score with a 6 at the beginning, so you want to try to get yourself above that. The closer you are to 700, obviously, the better off you are, but as you slide, especially below 650, that's when lenders are going to be taking a much closer look at you, because scores under 650 in particular mean that there's something going on in your past that has made your credit score slide to that level, whether it is missed payments or a complete default on an account in the past, or maybe even a bankruptcy. They're going to want to take a closer look and see what is going on with you. So 700 is sort of the magic number to feel okay about yourself. 750 plus is where you can feel really good. And then finally, I use 700 as sort of a threshold where you can feel decent about yourself if you're above 700, and then of course the reports from Experian and FICO, 716 or 718 as the average credit score across the board. But when we look at Experian's numbers of both Gen Z and millennials, we are looking at credit scores on average that are below 700, and some of that is going to be a lack of credit history, especially with Gen Z, but some of that, like I said earlier, is going to be from missed payments when people were younger and maybe didn't have their credit habits in shape yet. So it's very easy and doable to get yourself above a 700 credit score when you are in those age ranges, especially for people that are 25 plus, and maybe you're starting to get a little bit more of a track record with credit cards. Maybe you've got your first auto loan, maybe even your first mortgage. Getting over 700 is not really all that difficult. So when I see those averages, I kind of look at them and am a little surprised, especially for the millennials, but it does take a while for your credit score to rebound if you've had some issues in the early going. And so that may be part of what is going on there. Anyway, those are the numbers here. I would love to hear your thoughts about them or anything else that you want to talk about in the comments section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching, and as always, please go to proudmoney.com where we do credit card reviews, we talk personal finance, we talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. If you are not going to leave a comment or go to the website, you might want to watch next this video.